one of my quarantine projects has been trying to grow some basil from seed. And something happened to my basil, and it has just been, it just stopped growing. It's been this size for weeks. It sprouted up nice, looked good, and then they just stopped growing. They're not dead, they're like little bonsai basil. I even got some basil seedlings, right, to show them what they should look like. I said, hey you guys, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And they haven't listened. They didn't take the hint. So I'm not sure what to do, but I think I'm going to put these guys in the ground, and maybe I'll put these guys in the ground. Maybe they're just waiting to be outside or something, and we'll see what happens. But we need lots of basil, so I got a flat, got this flat. Maybe I have to make a couple more trips to the basil store. Good morning, South Avenue. It's Monday again, and it's also the 4th of April. Not April, May. May the 4th be with you. How about that?
What's for lunch? What's for lunch? Anybody know? What's for lunch?
For lunch today, today's a pickup day, South Avenue or the high school, 10 to 10:45. And groceries have been available at South Avenue if you're walking, and middle school if you are driving. The weather. Well, it was a lovely weekend, but this week is looking a little less wonderful. Highs in the 50s, lows in the 30s. So those of us that put a bunch of plants in the ground this weekend, we're going to have to keep an eye on it. Hopefully it won't get below 32 though.
It's your birthday today. It's your birthday today. There's a cat licking your birthday cake. It's your birthday today.
Birthdays! There are no birthdays today, but there were a couple over the weekend. On the 2nd, it was Chelsea Gordon. And on the 3rd, it was Erilyn Gonzalez. Happy birthday! Woohoo! 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 Took a little trip out to the bee yard yesterday to check on the progress of my hives. I have 3 new hives, and I'm going to check for brood. Brood is little babies. Right now, that queen should be laying lots of new workers who will start working away and collecting that pollen and honey for the hive. Alright, so we're going to take a look in a couple of these hives. One in particular, very interesting. The queen, I remember I put the queen in a little cage and they were supposed to eat the candy to allow her to escape. Well, they didn't do that. Apparently, sometimes when they shake the bees into the box where you get your bees, there's a queen in there. So I might have gotten an extra queen, and that's why they didn't let the queen out. But last time I looked, there was some brood in here, which means that somebody's laying the eggs. Somebody's laying the brood. No bears this year so far. Nectar coming in. Not a lot of bees in this one. But there is some brood. Looks like they're maybe trying to replace the queen. So you can see in there, there's some babies, but it looks like these are queen cells. See this big one right there. I think maybe they're still trying to make a new queen. So we've got brood in this one too, but it looks like they made a queen cell in this one too, and I don't know why. Lots of brood here, so that means lots of babies, lots of new workers to get honey. So I really don't want them to swarm, which means they start to feel crowded, and so they make a new queen, and one of the queens takes half of the hive away with them, and then you lose a bunch of workers. So I'm putting a little more room on there, even though it's probably a little early for that. But I guess I really don't want them to swarm. So I'll check one more hive here. This guy right here. See this sticky stuff is called propolis, and they use the propolis to seal up all the holes in the hive. One might need a new. So you see here, you can see there's a lot of pollen. That's called bee bread. So they bring the pollen back and they put it in those cells, and so there's some bee bread there, and I'm thinking, oh, there's some brood in there too, in the middle. So that's a good looking frame. With food on the outside and brood on the inside. That's ideal. Oh yeah, so we got lots of brood here. That whole frame is brood. This side is brood as well, so lots of new workers coming along. That's great. Wow, even more brood. So this is like, this hive is really doing well. And there's some more bee bread there. There's even some brood over on this side. Okay, gotta go get a new box for these guys. I'll be back. So I put another box on this one because I really don't want them to run out of room. And this hive is doing very well. There's many frames of brood in there. So I'm going to give them some room to grow. This hive is doing great. So if we look, I got 3 hives going. We'll call this hive C. Hive C is doing great. Hive B, not so hot. And hive A, doing fine, I think. Now I know. So we're going to go out and take a look and see if we have lots of new brood. Hopefully we're in good shape. And we got a jib jab from Miss Cookie. She says South Avenue Elementary School really rocks. We got a couple of pictures. We have, what do we got? We've got Ruby and Cole saving the worms from the sidewalk. When the rain comes, the ground gets filled with water and the worms try and escape, and sometimes they end up on the sidewalk. The rain dries up and they get stuck out there. So Ruby and Cole were getting them back into the ground so they could return to their homes. Nicely done. We've got some Hero Day pictures. Here's Mia saying thank you to the doctors and the medical assistants, one of whom is her mom. Thank you, Mom. Caroline's got a picture of some of her schoolwork, and it looks like there's a wren nest at their house. Okay, it's time for trivia. So let's see here. Photo where in Beacon. Last photo was the back of Mace Hook and Ladder Firehouse. So here's today's. Where in Beacon is this picture? Okay, so last week's trivia, last Friday, who was the author of Knuffle Bunny? The answer, of course, Mo Willems. And this week's trivia question is, how many are in a baker's dozen? If I get a baker's dozen worth of bagels, how many bagels did I get? That's it for today, folks. I will see you tomorrow.
And nothing gets me down. You got it tough. I've seen the toughest soul.